Hello and welcome to Rich Rides. This week, welcome to a bit of a rainy one, but needs must. I really wanted to make this video. So this week is a review of the scooter that I've ridden for the last 9 months or so. It's a Yamaha NVX155. So as usual, I'll go through some various aspects of the bike, so things like what I think it looks like, comfort, brakes, seating position, what's been like living with as a long-term owner as well. Sometimes my reviews are sort of short-term because I only have a bike for a day, but hopefully it makes sense to get the sort of long-term view. So first off are the looks. For a scooter, I think it looks fantastic, especially in the colour scheme I bought this one. So this is a matte black and gold finish, which, like I say, just looks superb in my opinion. Yes, it's still a scooter, but at least it's a good looking scooter. Physically, for a scooter, this is quite big, but the benefits of that, of course, are it's a bit more stable, little bit more weight. This has got a larger engine, so most scooters are 110 or 125cc. Yes, you do get some 50cc's, but yeah, most tend to be 125s, and this is a 155. So we might as well talk about that engine. It's just a single cylinder like most, automatic transmission, so sort of variable varimatic thing, so there's no gears, it's just a twist and go. But this engine, rather than being the usual sort of power of a 125, which is around 10 horsepower, these are 15 horsepower, and it's really noticeable. Something else with this, it's a variable valve timing engine, so once you get up the revs, I'm not sure what revs, probably about 5,000 or 6,000, then the VVC kicks in, so it changes its sort of timing profile, so you get more power, and it's a bit more pronounced. You even get a thing on the dashboard there that says VVA, so that's the variable valve activation. So performance wise, for a little scooter, then it's absolutely fab. It's really noticeable, as you'd expect, because it's 30% more power if you jump between this and a 125. The other aspect to talk about with it being a slightly larger scooter is the comfort. So I find this to be really comfortable. A lot of the scooters here in Vietnam, then there's no space for your knees, where this is close, but you don't bang your knees. I actually had the previous generation. This is the 2021, the generation 2 of the NVX155, and the generation 1, these parts of the dash and sort of the front part were a lot more pointy and stuck out more, so your knees did occasionally bang. So there's quite a lot of space. The seat is large as well, so we may as well talk about comfort. So the seat is pretty big, but it's stepped up, so it's not one large seat you could push yourself all the way back on, because there's a sort of defined step for the pillion, and your pillion sits a lot higher as well than they would do on a sort of normal traditional scooter. That can be disconcerting for some people at first, because they're obviously sat a lot higher and they feel like they're miles off the ground. But my son rides pillion with me a lot, and he really likes that because he can then see over me and see more than just the back of my head. So even at these higher cruising speeds, I'm doing about 80 k's now, it's super smooth and really comfortable. They actually massively improved the rear suspension on these, something that the generation 1 people complained about was the rear suspension. and having ridden both sort of long term, then it's noticeably better is this. Front suspension's decent too. The wheels are 14-inch. They are quite chunky and wide as well, so you don't feel like the front's going to wash out on you. So I think all that helps with stability and sort of smoothness, and obviously with bumps and those kinds of things, it's way better to have bigger wheels than small. As for some of the sort of practical stuff, so mirrors work really well because they are a little bit wider than a normal scooter. I've ridden some scooters where you literally can't see a thing because the scooter's really thin and you're wider than the scooter, so the mirrors were useless. But on this they work brilliantly. They're quite a funky little shape as well and a little bit tinted, so they look cool. All your sort of controls are pretty normal. So you've got your brake on each lever, so sort of rear brake on your left front, front brake on your right front. Obviously no clutch with it being auto. Lights, indicators, horn, start, all the usual stuff, just like anything else. But as you can see, it's got sort of LCD dash with loads of info, so proper fuel gauge, rev counter, speedo, and you can flick through that, see your miles per gallon, all sorts of good stuff. The other thing you can do, there's an app that connects to the dashboard. When you do that, then you can pull up all the information about servicing, so it tells you when it needs the belt changing. It's got all sorts of stuff. Also acts like a digital dash, so you can see this holder I've got here. I sometimes put the phone in there with it connected, and it acts as another rev counter and has a compass and lots of other interesting stuff on there as well. Yep. The other cool thing to do with this dash, as I mentioned, it connects to Bluetooth to your phone. So what it can do is pop up with text messages on the dashboard and also tell you about incoming calls and things. For me, I don't like those sorts of distractions, so I tend not to use it, but I know some people do. When it comes to braking, then the brakes are adequate. It's disc front, drum rear like most. The front isn't as strong as I first thought it would be. It's, like I say, it's certainly adequate, and with front and rear braking, it does have ABS as well, but with front and rear braking, if you want to stop quickly, you really can. You just need to put more effort into the pedal. Like I say, the advantage of that is it's not grabby at all, where on some bikes they can be too sensitive, so you put a little bit of pressure on and you sort of grind into a stop, where this is a lot more sort of modular. So let's do my usual top three things and any negatives. So for me, the top three things are the engine. I did say that it was a bit wet, didn't I? So this engine's brilliant. It's the most powerful sort of scooter I've ever ridden, and that hike in power compared to a normal 125 is massively noticeable. The second thing are the looks. As I mentioned before, then yes, it's still a scooter, but at least it's a good looking one. It's got some really nice little sort of design cues. There's things like the rear suspension has the sort of gold piggyback like reservoirs, so they look nice. Just the sort of general styling is really cool. The third thing is how practical it is. It's got a fairly decent size fuel tank, a lot bigger than most things. I think it's around 7 litres, gets between 100 and 110 miles per gallon, so you're not constantly going to the fuel station. You can use it on longer trips because it's nice and comfortable. It's got that more power, and even the sort of under seat storage is really big. That's often something that's overlooked on scooters. This particular scooter, it's got like a huge space under the seat. So yeah, in summary, I absolutely love this bike. I've ridden lots and lots of different scooters, probably about 20 or 30 different types of scooter now, and of everything, then this is my all-time favourite, which is probably why I ended up buying one. So I hope you found that useful. That's the end of this little review. If you've got any questions or comments, then please do just ask. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Usually it's out on sunny days and interesting scenery, not so much today, but I hope you enjoyed that anyway. Thanks very much.